to Market Focus. Now we'll have two sessions. First will be by Mr. Harsh Naidu, who is the CBO for Financial Services. A huge round of applause for Harsh as he takes the stage.
Good afternoon, folks. Thank you so much for spending this afternoon with us. My name is Harsh Naidu. I've been with the group for about 28 years. A large part of it has been living in New York and working in the financial services space with the group. And I've had this incredible privilege of building a very large part of this unit. So I take immense amount of pride in what we have done. But more importantly, I feel as excited as day one today, because I think the environment is absolutely fascinating. We've never had these kind of conversations. I talk to a lot of CIOs, and we're having a whole lot of conversations. And I feel that I'm going to make an honest attempt to distill all of that and give my perspective today. And I sincerely hope that helps us begin to answer this whole big question that's in the room: what's AI going to do to our industry or to coding jobs? And if we were to go by social media, folks, 5 people, 20 prompts, 100,000 a year, it's a frictionless world, and we can run enterprise IT on it. But nowhere is this debate on sci-fi versus friction more pronounced than in the BFSI space. And I think we understand what friction is because our landscape is like a bowl of spaghetti. I'm sorry for the food reference, you can probably figure out why. It's more like the Eid ki savaiya. It's got more complexity to it, it's got more texture to it, it's got more nuances to it. But one thing is clear: the pace is accelerating like I have never ever seen before. And if you see, a whole lot of enterprises, almost all leading enterprises have announced a CIO, Chief AI Officer or an AI czar. What amazes me, or I think what I find interesting here, is that most of them are reporting into either business or operations. I don't think I've come across an AI czar who works in technology as such. And then I feel there is probably this conversation that has shifted because of this, or the conversation has shifted because of which this is happening. The conversation is shifting from productivity to what I call value creation. Now layer that with a narrative of software is cheap or pretty much free at this stage. We're seeing an explosion of software. That is what I mean by strategic layering of AI. Almost all our top clients have a traditional budget and a budget on top of that, which is marked for AI. Now, what this is doing, it is creating multiple conversations across the spectrum. And I will try and drop some kind of a nuances to. I probably feel this is why we are seeing a lot more supplier consolidation. Because the kind of work we are doing is getting a lot more intricate, it is a lot more embedded, it is in smaller pockets. It's, instead of doing one large projects, we are doing 35 smaller projects in different shape or forms, which have higher impact. So I feel that it is important for a partner to know the ecosystem well, know the application landscape well, know the domain well. So there is a level of homogeneity in the conversation in the room. But more importantly, there is issue around governance. The partners will be so deeply embedded, they're finding it difficult to govern. So I feel that there is this change happening, and we've done about 10, 11 supplier consolidations. Happy to know that, happy to tell you that we are on the right side of most of it. But that's not the point. The point is that layered spend that you're seeing is going in a very interesting bucket. And actually, I would call it 3 buckets. The bucket 1 is where you're reimagining your business. You're reimagining a product, or you're reimagining your entire operations landscape. The build versus buy debate is raging. We've had some successes, bigger failures so far. Operations transformation. For every dollar we spend in this industry on technology, we spend $3 to $4 on operations. I think that's one area ripe for disruption. So we looked at all of this and we said, look, we need to approach the market slightly differently. Earlier this year, we've organized ourselves into micro verticals. These are our micro verticals. Each of these micro verticals is headed by someone very senior, somebody knows the landscape well, can have leadership level conversations easily. The leader has below them a set of architects, enterprise and data. Below them is domain, and we've also verticalized top 3 layers of our delivery. So there is consistency in conversation that we have. Another reason is the distance between imagination to prototype has to shrink because you have to fail fast. That's the promise of ROI on AI spend, right? I mean, you can lower risks faster or quicker ROIs on what you do. And I think this model, I mean, in our view, this model lends itself much better to this kind of an orientation. But we also decided that we need to take a punt on where and how this whole AI adoption is going to happen in our industry. We've now kind of zeroed down on a model where we're calling a left brain and a right brain model. Our thinking is that, and we are actually seeing a lot of that in practice now, a whole lot of SLMs, product-specific or sub-product-specific SLMs will be built in. There is an orchestration layer that essentially governs how these SLM talks to industry LLMs on compliance, on regulation, on even cost from a cost perspective. So we are starting to build a whole lot of this for our clients. Our thinking today is that we have one account which is $100+ million account, 2 are at the cusp. From there to about $600 to $800 million accounts by the time we are done with our Lakshya plans. Because we feel that we are an engineering only firm. That's our core DNA. We understand architecture really well, steeped into it. So this is our moment to really partner and add more value. So as I said, there are buckets spent happening in 3 broad buckets. I just want to talk about few of the things that we are seeing in this space. I mean, I feel that they are kind of representative. For a very large bank, we worked on a treasury product. Historically, this would be a product that you buy off the shelf or you build something really complex. I mean, we've taken an AI-first approach on this and built a treasury product which is integrated to SAP. Now, they can white label this product for either other banks or they can sell it directly through SAP as a module on top. And what is the good part? We are resellers on this. So, if we were not to approach this as AI first, this would be a very complex project. It'll have licensing issues and a whole bunch of other challenges that you would not want to deal with. This is another one that we're doing for insurance company. Again, we are reimagining their businesses. I mean, their thought process is, can we use AI to really upsell, cross-sell to our existing customer base, but again, and also underwrite a product if we do a custom product and if we can define that product for them. We are building about 35, what do we call data lakes for them for different products, putting a SLM on top, which essentially collates data from here and a bunch of unstructured data, creates intel, develops I would call it a far dynamic, customer 360, and is able to propose projects that another SLM clears and sends it out via an AI agent for execution. I think this is the model we are beginning to see. So the thought process probably is that, as we see, the decisioning is a lot more closer to business. Business is really trying to harness the power of this technology. I feel that, no conversation in this room is complete without talking about the Mythos impact. I don't know where to put it, because I think, in my view, it belongs in a category of its own. I seen firsthand, Venu and I were supposed to travel for a meeting, Mythos gets dropped, our meetings get cancelled with the top tech players. All of them are in DC. This is a serious issue that the industry is currently grappling with. Of course, there are these 50 companies that are working on it. There is a network thing. There is other things that they're working on, and industry will find some solutions. But I feel this will also point out tons of vulnerability in the application in the data space, and we are preparing for it. We've created a 10-tower program, partnering with some top companies, AI companies for each of those towers, and watch this space. You should hear a lot from us. We've also become, I think, probably the only service provider who's a part of FS ISAC partnering with large banks in the US and regulators to build a comprehensive solution. And as I said, the debate on build versus buy is raging. I mean, it's shown us some early promises, I said even bigger failures, but I think the number of conversation in this space has just exploded. I'll talk about two very different case studies. One is a completely a new build. So a large bank which is trying to build its wealth business all over again has decided to build the two big rails on its own. I mean, it's bespoke rails. So onboarding, the whole customer experience rail where, from mass affluent to private wealth, that whole experience layer is one, and it is homegrown and it's built on an AI platform. Even what we call product, so it's like a swivel chair, like all the products are integrated into this dashboard and ability to plug in and plug out products to that. This is like a utopian dream for a wealth manager. I mean, if you guys probably know how complex the tech landscape behind a wealth management business is. Earlier, we'd have done this on a Salesforce, Pega, ServiceNow, a lot of custom code, private licensed products. But I think this is beginning to shape. I think one big reason is that if things were to go wrong, we would fail fast and shut it down and take another path. And I think that threshold of reduction of risk is what probably is driving a lot of this conversation. Sorry. Similarly, for a large insurance company, we are doing a global rollout of a Duck Creek platform. Earlier, because of lack of multi-tenancy or the way the product is designed, the cost of implementation would be huge. So we've reduced the core functionality and built this massive layer on top of multi-tenancy. All parameters are kind of, all the variables are parameterized so you can plug and play a country fairly easily. What it has done is cut my implementation time by 1/15. And cost is, there's a phenomenal reduction in cost because some of this can be very expensive for smaller countries. So we are seeing these kind of conversations pick up significantly in our business. And I'll just throw a random statistics. Earlier we would have work on like 10, 15 proposals, 20 proposals in a week. We are talking about it in hundreds right now because everybody is trying to ideate something. And a lot of conversations are in these three buckets. Operations transformation. Nowhere the promise of AI driving saves is more prominent than this. Again, as I said, right, for every dollar we spend on technology, our clients spend about 3 to 4 on operations. Apart from cost, it also does two things. It limits the experiences that people deliver to their clients. And I think that's probably a bigger value proposition because I sometimes, we as a partner sit on bids that, custodians make to asset managers, and the biggest question is, we want a better experience for our clients. So I think that is going to become prominent. I just want to talk one case study because I think it's like really massive. A very large bank is looking to spend about $200 to $300 million to take out $1 billion of annual spend on operations and just radically change the entire experience. So we're looking at about 1,100 odd processes in 35 odd products in about 50 to 60 countries. And it has been, the details on this have, we've really gone up to the detail of, of course cost, but experience at every stage. Who touches it? How do we work on regulations? And this is very different because the assumption is we can build infinite amount of software to work through some of these challenges. And this is what I find fascinating. I think we're starting to see some early returns on this. And I think that is giving us a lot more confidence as a partner that because, we are an engineering company, we understand the application landscape really well. Large percentage of what we do is largely application development engineering. So we feel excited and we feel that we are the right kind of people to do this kind of work. So I feel that, we as a company are in a very interesting zone. We have the right kind of capabilities, which is data, domain, architecture, even delivery depth the right set of clients where we have the right to play. I mean, we work with, almost 7 of the top, 15 banks. We have a very good set of logos. We have a right to do, we are strategic partners in most of them. We have the right set of relationships and the right set of credentials to do what it needs to be done in this changing times. So, excited to be a part of this journey and happy to have conversations with you guys as we go along. So, thank you very much. So, let me have, on one hand, banking is an industry which is a late adopter of technology. I would like to invite my dear friend Vijay Ram to talk about technology. They are the ones who are creating this new world, a very different world from where we live. So Vijay, over to you.